Welcome to the Ray Bros Nerd Show. I'm your host, Jonathan, with my brother, Zach.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to 2018. Oh my God. Like, that's like, you would think we'd be more excited about it, but it's almost kind of sad because I don't know if you agree with this, but 2017, in my memory, was like one of the best release years for video games that I can remember.
Oh, this is hands down my favorite year of video games, period.
Yeah, because there's like so much that came out. It was like fighting games, RPGs, just endless amounts of just like...
Nintendo brought their A games this
Yeah.
year. That's what Nintendo did.
Yeah, like surprisingly too. To be fair, surprisingly, because like the Wii U, everybody knows it was a disaster. Like, to be fair, and then they were coming out with the Nintendo Switch, and you and I talked about it when it was first kind of coming out, and we poo-pooed on it a little bit.
Oh, I took a major dump on that thing, and now I'm eating my words for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I feel like I was more like an in-betweener, or what they call a tweener, which is like, I was self-aware that the Wii was bad, but I was like, they can do it. Because I swear, like, if you look at, like, and this isn't like a Nintendo podcast or whatever, but, like, if you look at Nintendo in history, they had, like, peaks and valleys. Like, more than I feel like a lot of companies have had. Like, you know, you had the regular Nintendo, which was awesome. The Super Nintendo, the 64, in reality, was not a failure necessarily, but it got outclassed by the PS1 and stuff like that, right? And then they came out with the GameCube. Obviously, the Virtual Boy was in there somewhere. But the GameCube, that didn't do really well.
It had a handle, though.
Yeah, it was like getting there, you know? Yeah, I have a GameCube. It's funny, like, I only have a few games for it. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the Wii came out next. And to be fair, that was more of like a casual thing. Mm-hmm. But, like, it sold, like, you can't deny it, even though it's more for casual gamers. It sold like a beast. Like that thing.
Yeah. 100%. And then, but that's the thing. Like, most companies, if they had like a series of consoles that was N64, GameCube, and Wii, they wouldn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But there's like a huge part of like what they did that like you didn't mention.
What's that?
Handheld.
Oh yeah, the Game Boys and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like I think you said Game Boy, but like the DS and the 3DS have sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, the Game Boy actually outsold, like, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, like the Genesis for a while, or like even the Sega Game Gear. Like the Game Gear, in retrospect, was full on color, all that stuff, even though the screen's crappy. But that little green and gray screen just kept on trucking along, you know what I mean? And then, like, the Wii U came out, and, like, to get to the Switch in a second, like, I thought the Wii U was going to be the console that was going to be, like, the 3DS, or the way the Switch was now, where you can take the screen, go anywhere you want with it, come back, you know, it had its own charge. At least that's what I thought. Even though... the marketing for that thing was terrible, and I
worked at GameStop.
Yeah,
at
you
the
worked
time,
there,
and the marketing for that thing was terrible. They left it on us to explain to every grandmother to come in that no, that's not an add-on.
Yeah,
that's the new Wii. This like
it's
new
its own
system,
thing. Yeah,
and no, that the screen that they're showing, that's the controller.
Yeah,
you can buy other. It was a nightmare.
It was weird too because like I have a Wii U. And, like, if you look at it next to a Wii, it almost does, to be fair, look exactly the same.
Yeah, it's a little more, it's rounded.
Yeah, that's basically, they went from a square to a circle.
Yeah, that's all they did. So, you know, but that's the thing is, like, with the Nintendo Switch, you know, most people look at the Wii U and they're like, oh, they had a great, you know, the Wii U was a proof of concept and this was execution. What a lot of people forget is that the idea that the Wii U had of, like, you have this where you can play these games on the go on this separate, you know, screen, okay? Another company was already doing that. And everybody forgets about it.
Sony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation Vita,
yeah.
and not just the Vita, like the PSP
Didn't
had
they have
some
one
of it.
literally called the PS Go? No.
Well, the PS Co was a trash fire. Like that thing, it looked like a phone. Like it looked like a sliding phone, but it wasn't a phone. It was just a console, and you couldn't put physical games in there.
It was all
digital.
digital, yeah. Which is weird to think that long ago digital existed, I guess.
And I think that's like, it almost shows like what Nintendo has to do to survive is literally take innovations of other companies sometimes, take those, run with it, and then actually make it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Because I think pound for pound, like the Nintendo Switch, like I haven't touched my PS4 since I got the Switch.
Yeah, me neither, really.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna make a joke with you because I thought about this like before we're recording. The Wii U. This is gonna sound weird, but the Wii U is the Switch under house arrest.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can play, technically you can play, and that's why like the Wii U I felt like was almost there, and I'm so happy that they released the Switch. And I feel like we're just schlobbing, Nintendo, but the Wii U, you could play the games wherever you wanted as long as you stayed within your house. And I even heard like people with bigger houses, I don't know how true this is or whatever, like it would have like, it would disconnect a lot. Like if you're far away from the home screen. Or not the home screen, but the console itself.
The Wii U was literally doing the same thing that Vita was doing. Where it was streaming that data over the internet.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. The Wii U got lucky in terms of it came out before, Comcast and other companies put data caps
on stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So they got lucky because, like, let's say the Switch did it that way, sent it over the internet. I wouldn't use that.
No.
Because that would be too much. But, like, if you listen to our old episodes, like, I was just done with Nintendo. I wanted Nintendo to take their creativity and polish and publish games on...
exclusively.
Yeah, just publish games on other people's platforms and
just be done with it.
And I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm so
well,
glad
now they're getting the third, because the Wii U, there's a minuscule amount of third-party support.
Oh, yeah.
Like, minuscule. And when the Switch came out, it was a legit worry that there wasn't going to be enough third-party support, and that's fair. Well, now, like, Capcom's been releasing games for it. What are some other... There's been a lot of indies support on it.
And the thing that happened with the Switch is, like, everybody was doubting it when it came out. Everybody, like, and even, like... Because I think with you were, like, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
You wanted this thing to work and be what they were saying.
I wanted it to be what I thought the Wii U was going to be. And I thought the Wii U was going to be what the Switch is, as much as that makes sense. Where, okay, if my wife wants to watch a TV show, a movie, I can play on the screen. Which the Wii U, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But you still have to have the console plugged in. You still have to have everything attached. I wanted it to be its own thing. The Switch is its own thing. It's its own power source. You can connect a USB power directly to it. Good to go. Now, like, for the Wii U, I thought you can take it out of the house. If you go on a road trip or something, or let's say you go to a buddy's house and there's a family get-together and you just want to play video games with everybody. I thought that's what the Wii U is. Thankfully, that's what the Switch is now, where it's literally like, I think it's 4 components. Let me think. It's the screen itself, the 2 controllers which attach to it. Most people know what the Switch is, but I'll just explain it. It has a USB cord, a power cord, and a base station if you need it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I wish I could have seen my own face. Like, I knew what the Switch was.
Yeah. I
thought the dock was something. But what I found out is absolutely not.
The dock is like nothing almost.
Yeah, when I opened that box,
yeah,
and all I saw was a piece of black plastic, and I picked it up.
It's shitty, to be fair.
Yeah, Yeah, and I opened the back of it, and it was just hollow. There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Like, that blew my mind. I was like, oh, now
What?
I get it.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Like, how they could pull this off.
Because the Switch is it's weird to say it, but the Switch is the console. The thing with the dock, which is usually the console, if that makes any sense, is literally just a hub to connect the actual console to your TV.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Right now, like, my Switch dock, like, obviously I use it anytime I drop it in to play on the big screen.
Yeah.
But what my dock is right now is, like, it's for that. But also, I charge my PS4 controllers on it. I charge my phone on it if I need to, you know. If I'm playing something, I throw it in the dock. Like, it's this just weird, like... The thing about the Switch is it's just convenient in almost every way.
But to be fair, like, people that are... I don't know how to say this without sounding offensive, but, like... And I'm not trying to be, but people who are, like, super picky about pixelation and... what else is there? Like,
because the war that's going on with, like, the other two big guys is...
Like, the PC Master Race versus...
You know,
PS4,
4K
Xbox.
and HDR and, like, graphical fidelity is what Sony and Microsoft are fighting over.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, hey, we're going to make the best looking Mario game you've ever seen. And
make it where you can take it anywhere.
yeah, and you can take it with you, or you can play it on the TV in 1080p. Like, congratulations, you spent, you know, like with me, $800 on a TV. And now, like, guess what? It's 1080p. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, but it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it still looks great. Yeah. So, like, people like that might hate on it. They still need to work on their internet connections and their friend list and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because they still don't even have it, and supposedly they're going to charge for it like everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, they said like 2018, and I heard January, but, like...
we are just in the first week of January, so who knows? I hope it's, I don't know, I hope it's something that's fairly cheap if they're going to do it, and it includes, like, an old school game. And there's been, like, rumors of how it's going to work and stuff like that.
They canceled that program.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, like, what he's talking about is when they announced the Switch, they announced their, like, because with Xbox and PlayStation, they have basically, you pay to play online, but also each month you get a couple free games to play.
Yeah.
That you, generally speaking, like, if you don't already own the games or you haven't played those games can end up making it to where you basically, you know, more than paid off what you paid in to play online with the free games. But Nintendo, they wanted to do, like, their eShop, not eShop, what did they call the, like, classics? They had, like, a separate thing that, like, you could play all their old school Mario.
It was still part of the eShop, but it was just, like, in its own, like, genre.
It had its own name. They were going to take that, all the old games, and make it a subscription service, like, and each month you would get a different game to play for a set amount of time, and then once the month was over, it would go away. Or you could buy it.
Yeah.
But all that's not in there, but, like, the thing about the Switch at this point in time right now, the reason why it's going to succeed where the Wii U failed, is because enough people bought it.
Which is a good start, yeah.
Which makes, they just announced last week, 2 different days, it is now the fastest selling console in Japan and the fastest selling console in the United States.
Really? Wow.
Somebody finally beat the PS2.
And the Nintendo Direct is going to come out, or it's going to happen this month, which there's already, like, rumors and speculation of.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's not a perfect system. There's still a little bit of issues with it, but what I'm saying is, like, in retrospect, for 2017 as a whole, that thing dominated, in my eyes, of playtime of something. If anything, like, we're going to talk here soon about top 10 games that we played in 2017, and I was looking at my list, and, like, not half, but a good proportion of it is from the Nintendo Switch.
And now, drop the mic on this. When did you get your Switch?
For my birthday.
which is
October,
yeah,
and we're in just now January.
yeah. And so if we're talking about like the system he played most, this the calendar year 2017, it was a console he only owned for 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
Like I honestly,
which you would think like doesn't make sense, but it did, or like it might not even been where I technically played it the most time wise.
But like that's
most
what you
memorable,
think about.
yeah, like, most like memorable. Because I've played games, like as a side note, for like hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll remember them or whatever. But then there's like games that come out long once in a while that we'll get into our list here soon.
Mm-hmm.
That like just like take over. You know what I mean? Like just take over your memories of the other one. And it's nothing against that other game.
Yes.
It's just one of those situations where it's like let's say I'm playing Mario 64, and I'm like, okay, I remember this game, and then I go to play Mario Sunshine, and I like it more, just as an example. It's like, oh crap, Mario Sunshine, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. When I was building this list, like, I know absolutely that one of the games on my top 10 list would have been Game of the Year this year if I didn't get the Switch in I got it less than 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking
noob.
But at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, I'll get into more about the Wii U and the Switch, like, when I discuss my number one game of the year, which I guess, there's a little clue for you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
spoilers.
When I was when I was building this list, I was like, man, any other year, any of the last 4 years, if that game would have came out and I didn't play this game, that would have been my game of the year, like number one with a bullet.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been like a question. And then I was like, oh man, this game came in and just ate its lunch and left
dinner,
it in a locker,
everything.
So
pretty much ate its soul. So we're kind of cheating. We're gonna go through a top 10 games of 2017, but it wasn't games that necessarily came out in 2017, but maybe games that we played in 2017 that we liked the most. And the funny thing is we kind of shared our list with each other just like as a reference point. And I have to openly admit I'm very mad at myself because one of the games that is on my brother's list, and I'll tell him about it, I just haven't discussed it with him fully. I'm embarrassed because it should be on my list, but it's not. And so, no.
Okay.
He just showed me a paper with it.
Yeah.
It should be on my list, but it's one of those things where
we need to dive into this.
Yeah.
Now you got me like
change. Yeah.
I don't like. I'm with you, viewer. Like I'm like, oh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
This is exciting. He's got a game. He's like, oh.
Before we go from 10 to 1, we're gonna throw some honorable mentions. I think first you said you wanted to do your dislikes, just because like I want to go from. It's like the opposite of wrestling. I want to go from bad to good. Usually in wrestling, you go from good to bad. Like there's a sour ending. So let's get the crap out of the way. Let's get the crap, throw it in the garbage. You go first, because mine is, I just have one.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm going to, the first two I'm going to say here, I'm going to go through them pretty quick, just because, like we had it, originally I was looking at it as disappointment, but then I just kind of, there's some, anyways, okay. So, my number 3, like, most disappointing game, shouldn't be on here.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a bad game. At all. I believe, wholeheartedly, I will get back to it. I would very much so, like, I would have gotten back to it already if it was on the Switch.
Yeah.
That game is Persona 5.
Oh, okay. A lot of people like that.
I
haven't played it yet.
The problem with Persona 5 is, like, when I got a Vita, I played Persona 4 Golden, and that is one of the best JRPGs of all time. It was a game that, like, I didn't think I would care about at all, but it blew me away. The way it mixes, like, high school drama, relationship building, skill building, as well as, like, dungeon crawling is awesome. And the thing about Persona 5 is it's more of that. It is just more Persona. The problem I had with Persona 5 is I just did not, and I got pretty far in the game, at like 25 hours or so. The characters did nothing for me. So, like, I just couldn't get attached. Now, in Persona 4, like, from the jump, the first 3 characters you meet in that game are interesting.
You're hooked.
You know, yeah. So that's the thing. I think Persona 5 might end up being on my top 10 list, you know, for 2018.
To retry, like, once you retry it, maybe?
Yes.
That kind of reminds me of, like, when we played, because we actually did a whole podcast about this, when we played Mafia 3.
Mm-hmm.
How at first, it might be a little different, but at first, like, we really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, it became a lot of repetition. You're like, you know, I don't know if I like this. And then you came back to it, and you almost defended it again. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what it, like, you telling me that, that's what it reminds me of. And it might not be the same, but that's what it reminds me of, you know?
Yeah, because the problem with Mafia 3 is, like, the opening hours of that game are some of the best, you know, the best written, you know, dialogue,
Yeah.
you know, voice acting, scenario, everything. It's awesome. But proper open world, not the, like, tutorial phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you're almost partially right. I said Persona 5 is more Persona, and that's a good thing, but also, like, if the characters aren't good, it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other reality of that is like, I did another full playthrough of Persona 4 last year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking part of that was just like, it bled over, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm putting a pin in it, and I wanted to point out that Persona 5, because I love Persona. Like, after 4, I went back and played 3 and 2. 1, no, it's like a completely different kind of experience. But I'm putting a pin in it. I'm saying now that I'll probably get back to it this year. But I had to say that the characters are just terrible. So
yeah. And to defend you a little bit, because there's a lot of people who love that game. But the thing with games that people love is, it's like, to me, it's okay not to like it, because, like, you ever feel forced to like something?
Yeah.
Like,
I think the entire gaming industry and internet wants everybody to love PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds right now. To me, that game sounds boring as dirt.
Right.
But, like, if you go on any website's
or
top
forum,
10,
yeah,
like, that is number 1.
and I always feel like I always feel weird, because, like, there'll be games out there, and I can't even think of an example off the top of my head. I should have, like, thought about this earlier, but, like, where everybody enjoys, you know what I mean? And then I go to play it. Like, I will admit, like, there's a game on my list that at first when I played it, I couldn't really get into for some reason. And then I played it again, and I like it a lot. And then I looked it up online, and it's like, there's a mediocre reaction to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I really it's almost like movies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
where
100%.
I'll love a movie, or I think a movie's cool, but then the reviews are terrible. Like, the one example I always think of is Punisher Warzone. Like, the intro of Punisher Warzone is awesome, because it's just, like, violence galore.
Bonfanculo.
Yeah.
Like, it's in my brain.
Yeah, he literally, like, cuts a dude's head off. I think shoves a pencil up somebody's nose and kills them that way. Fixes his own nose by, like, anyways, like, I like, it's like popcorn flick. It's like, yeah, it's cool. But then when you go, like, read the reviews, people destroyed it because it wasn't Thomas Jane. You know what I mean? It wasn't him. And it was, like, totally different than technically not the first movie, but the first well-known Punisher. Because technically the first Punisher movie was with Dolph Lundgren. Yeah. I don't know why I almost said something
Dolph
else.
Ziggler.
I almost said Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry. You'll find out I'm a wrestling nerd, but we try not to talk about it because, like, anyways. So, yeah. So what I'm saying basically is, Like, a lot of people like that game, but it's fair not to like something, but at the same time, I'm never one to go out of my way to dislike something, and I don't think you did. You gave it a fair shot.
Yeah.
But you're saying, all right, I didn't like it, but maybe I can go back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I think every human being, like, you know, any piece of art or video game or movie, whatever, is divisive.
Yeah.
Okay, because everybody's different. But I also think that we all kind of change as well. So, like, sometimes I'm absolutely in the mood to play this, you know, or sometimes I'll start this game, absolutely hate it, and then 3 months later I'm like, I want to give that a shot again, and it becomes my favorite game of all time.
Yeah. I think it's a cool, like, it shows, like, maturity when you can adapt to something. But you don't always have to adapt. Like, for example, there's, like, a TV show that Monica started watches about singing. And, like, at first I was watching it, I'm like, I don't get this stuff. Like, it's just not my cup of tea. But at the same time, I watch wrestling, and it's definitely not Monica's cup of tea. Yeah. But it's, like, something that she's like, okay, he enjoys this. Let me just try to, like, meet him halfway or something. You know what I mean?
100%. I'm experiencing that with a cat right now. Anyways, okay, let me just say this right now. Like, we're coming back to this podcast. I think we both have this kind of fire about it that we lost because of where we were at when we were doing this the last time. So I think we have, like, so much we've wanted to say that, like, we keep doing tangents.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. No. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, listener, go on a ride with us. Let it.
This is probably the forum that the way, like.
Yeah. This is the floodgates right now. Like, but let's get to these lists. The next.
To be fair, you did say we could go along to the first episode.
No, and yes, I was like thinking of it of like a Marvel annual issue that like the first one we do each year. At the beginning of the year, we're going to do it like our top 10 list and just talk about whatever. Like,
anyway, so moving on to another disappointment, because I only have one, so you might as well do your 3 first.
Yeah. So my next one is a disappointment on a larger scale level. It's not about the game itself, though I think the shooting is kind of boring. The campaign is, yes, it's there when it wasn't in the previous game. But it really doesn't do anything special, except for every once in a while. And the big disappointment with this game is how the industry is shifting to blind boxes, loot boxes. Battlefront 2 had all the makings of being like...
They actually changed the name. It's called Battle Box 2.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
And that's the thing about the game is like it had all the like makings of being the biggest shooter right now, you know, besides PlayerUnknown's Battleground. But like biggest console shooter since, you know, Call of Duty.
Because it's Star Wars.
Yes, it's Star Wars. They released the first one, and they wanted to address a lot of the issues with that first one. Mm-hmm. You know, so they added a campaign. They added, you know, battles out in space. It's one of the best looking games I have ever seen, graphically speaking. The cutscenes are, even though they're boring, they're well directed, you know. There's one character in that game who, like, even though I hate this game,
you can get behind.
Like, this character, I would read books about him. I would watch Star Wars movies about him. You know, so there's a lot of, like, good that could have happened. But, for one, I think the shooting itself is kind of dull, and it's just like every other shooter. Mm-hmm. So that's already, you know, a big mistake. But then tying all of the progression behind very slow... you know, unlocks,
yeah,
like
a gambling system, technically.
Yeah, like you have, like, I played that game online for way more than I usually do other games because it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, every time I'd play, I would get no, like, reward. And that's the kind of, like, people we are with games now. We want that, like, loop of like, I did awesome in this match. I hope I get that next cool gun I was looking for, that next cool piece of gear, that next cool unlock. Not in this game.
I just want to play lights, with Darth Vader or whatever.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, I just want to play as Darth Vader. So they tied it all behind loot boxes, which are, as John said, they're random. And guess what? When the game was about to come out, you could pay to get those loot boxes. And it just sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks because, like, you ask any person playing video games, and they tell you, hey, we're going to have loot boxes in this game, but what they're going to get you is only cosmetic.
Yeah.
Like, only changes the way you look, doesn't affect the way the, progression works or anything like that. Gamers are like, okay, and guess what? Most gamers, if you approach them with that, not only are they okay with it, they will actually, if they're really enjoying a game and they're like, oh my gosh, I bought this $60 game 6 months ago, like, I want to keep supporting them, I should buy some of these loot boxes. I should throw them some money to support them. But instead, EA was like, no, we need to make as much money as possible because this is a Star Wars game.
Get that license money, son.
Yes, like, and it just sucks. I hope that'll change. I think we'll have more to say about loot boxes and stuff in another
Maybe
episode.
a different episode, yeah, because that could be a whole rant. And like, to add in real quick for that game is like, I was so depressed almost because it's like, I want to get that game, and I know they took the loot boxes away or something right now, or
they disabled the microtransactions, but it's still slow as hell to unlock everything.
Okay, so because I'm like, Space Battle sounds so awesome, but needless to say, I'm not going to get it.
That's the best part of that game.
I'm gonna wait until it's like $20, and I'm like, then I can maybe justify paying $20 if I decide to. Like, my brother said this a long time ago, and if anything, I feel like he coined it, but like it's hard to prove. But he always says, "Vote with your dollar." You know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't coin that phrase. That was I think
it was
where I heard
the first time I heard it was
Yeah.
when you said it, though. But yeah.
Exactly. So like, the problem is I'm too weak, and everybody's too weak. But this time they weren't. Star Wars Battlefront 2 did not sell nearly as much as the first game.
No, and it was so bad Disney got involved.
Yeah, but Disney knew all along that this was going on. Like, people who
What I think happened was it affected a Disney like owner's like kid or something. Like, he was pissed about it, and then they're like, "All right,
we need to put a stop to this. Who approved this?
Who approved this? It was Jimmy." Anyway, so what's your number 3?
Well, my number 1.
Oh yeah, technically number 1.
Like, that made me. I'm looking at my paper. It made me write this category as F this game.
Nice.
Which isn't true for like Persona 5. Like, that one just bummed me out. Battlefront 2 is not even the game itself bummed me out. It's the, practices.
It's basically a bully. It's like you give the bully like lunch money, think you'll be like, all right, the bully will leave me alone, and the bully hands you a box with a fist in it, and it just punches you.
Congratulations. Here's what you get for having faith in us and this franchise you love. In this very same studio that fucked up stuff. Oh, sorry. I don't know if we're gonna swear on this.
It's fine. I think I already said ass like 5 times. So.
Okay. But the same company that messed up Star Wars messed up one of my favorite franchises of any medium. Okay, Mass Effect 1 through 3, and a lot of people have problems with 3's ending.
Yeah.
I didn't. I thought it was a very ballsy move, a very, like, it came from a person's mind that, like, this made sense. I thought...
Don't spoil it.
I'm not.
Because I have the collection, like, right in front of me.
Yeah, and when I saw that sitting there, I really was looking at it, and I was like, man, I would love for me and you to do an entire Let's Play series
of the whole series? Yeah, that'd be cool.
With me sitting next to you, like, talking about, like, once you get to a certain part, or this is what I did, after you make decisions. Anyways, that's...
Neither here nor there, yeah.
But Mass Effect is one of my favorite, when Mass Effect 3 came out, it was cold and rainy, and my fiance Emily was there with me at the midnight launch to get it. And I don't do a lot of midnight launches.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So, like, Mass Effect, like, my shepherd, like, is my shepherd, and Mass Effect Andromeda was, not only was it a technical mess when it released, and that's, like, one thing. For me, like, people who have, like, oh, I can't believe, this giant company with all these people working for it, can release a game and it has, like, technical issues, like, and not even crashes, like, the faces were messed up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's not even the issue with Mass Effect. I could deal with all of that.
Yeah.
I could, set that aside.
You can forgive certain things.
If, that has as interesting characters and world building as the first trilogy did.
Right.
Their solution for that was like, no, how about we, during the, like, everything going on over by Earth and stuff like that, we're just going to have, like, a vessel fly all the way out and try to find a new place to colonize in case we don't win the war against the Reapers. And it's like, okay, this could be awesome.
Right.
Okay, like, the idea that they had could be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, what we got was, they fly out there, and of course there's a lot of, like, drama, and things are messed up, and ships are missing, and, the planets that we were aiming for don't look the way we wanted them to. All that I'm still behind. Right up until the first alien species you come into contact with, you have no choice but to A, shoot them, or B, wait till they shoot one of your friends and then shoot them. There's no, like it literally makes it to where, like, no matter which piece of the galaxy you will ever go to, everything is always killing each other.
Violence, yeah.
There is always some kind of sinister evil, like...
It's like Mars Attacks.
And I get that you need that. You're making a sci-fi shooter.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if you do that, even if you make it to where, okay, this first species you encounter are shitbags. Okay, well, in the first, trilogy, there's, like, I don't know the exact number, but at least, 8, 9 different species. Okay, so some of them are good, some of them are bad. There's bad, people in all species of whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully that's where it's going next.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and no, you literally only meet one other species in the damn game, and they're like the, like, rebels, the beaten down, like, people who look like weird fish people.
Ugh. Yeah, I saw so many videos about that game. This is... Ugh.
Like, everything's bad. The like, structure of, like, you go to a planet, and there's pockets of radiation and this and that, like, prevent you from, like, going here and there, like, make it stupid. Well, I have a whole freaking spaceship that I just landed on this planet. Why don't you just move the damn spaceship? Come on!
Just park it over there.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, that sucks. And... the other species is weird and not super interesting. So, okay, if you're going to have all that, well, at least, make the characters that you're interacting with and because the best thing about Mass Effect is you're building a squad.
Right.
Okay, of, like, people who fight with you. And you take them out on missions, you do loyalty missions with them and stuff like that. You're, like, building a crew. You're like, this is my crew, and I'm the captain, and this is what we're going to do. And all those characters, like, in the original trilogy are super fascinating, like Tally and Rex, and, I can go on and on. And each game, they added new, interesting characters. Some you didn't see anymore, stuff like that. Mass Effect Andromeda, I could tell you...
Was it just, like, boring? It just sounds boring.
And the problem is, like, when the game first came out, I put, like, 30 hours into it. I kept trying. I kept trying to find, like, this...
Because it's like those one RPGs where you have to play for 30 hours to gain enjoyment. You're, like, trying to get the enjoyment.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't have to play a game for 20 hours to, like, get something out of it. But, like, when you love something, and... I'm speaking of, like, the kind of love, like, that you have for franchises and stuff. Like, when you have that kind of love, like, I don't care if it's the worst Batman comic in the world. Like, if you put it in front of me, I'll read it.
Right. I'll give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I might find something good in there just because I have an attachment to that character. But Mass Effect, here's the thing. When it first came out, put probably like 30 hours into it. Okay, so the other thing I tried to do was like have my fiance play it. She liked making a character, but then and jumping around with the jump boots, but like didn't really care about what was going on. And I'm like, hey, that was my problem.
Yep.
So then months later, I tried playing it again. I got another like 15, 20 hours into that game.
Mm-hmm.
Trying again, like doing things different, you know, making my own gameplay loop different for how I played it the first time because I knew what I was doing now.
Yeah.
No, those characters are just bad. The story is just bad. The situations are, you know, not interesting. And that sucks. And now they've already said, hey, we're canceling our plans for the DLC.
They just ditched it, basically.
Yeah, like, they killed one of my favorite franchises. You know.
That's the worst.
That kills me. That's, like, EA, like, you done messed up. Like,
you done messed up, kid.
Like, this is one of those ones that, like, hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is one of those ones where, like, this game was supposed to come out, and I was supposed to just, like, be over the moon about it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead what happened was I got a boring, rushed mess of a game that then made, like, even me, who, like, I love, like, pretty games and games that run smooth and stuff. It made even me not, like, notice these, like, small facial animations and stuff and hate them.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And that's all the time I'm going to give to Mass Effect.
Yeah, especially if it's a franchise you like. I can't make too much comment about it because I still got to play some of it, but I know enough about it where it's just like, that's depressing, actually.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2, not 1 or 3, Mass Effect 2 is easily in my top 5 games that I've ever
played through life.
Yes.
So, my disappointing game, and I don't think it came out this year. I think it came out a few years ago. And I just was able to play it because I saw a rumor, and I actually changed my answer. I saw a rumor that they patched it where it was like more playable. And looking at my room right now, I have every movie. Basically, the game was called Godzilla.
Oh.
I have every Godzilla movie. I have probably 4 or 5 Godzilla things, plus, literally to the point where I have a buddy that's stationed in Japan has sent me Godzilla stuff from Japan, the place that gets attacked. And I went and, like, I saw videos of how terrible it was, but I'm like, they patched it. Maybe they fixed it. You know what they patched? I'll get to that in a second, actually. So I went to play it. Oh my god. It was like, I swear it was just as bad at the video as the videos like I saw. Where it's just like boring and it's like, how did they mess this up? Because this is like, they could have like redone like a King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm sure you've played that, but
yes.
Or at least even a Rampage, I should say, where like Godzilla can, like, he can destroy buildings but make it more arcadey. Basically, what they updated was they had a horrible frame rate issue, where like when you first went to play it, you would destroy a building, but you know how like games have flicker?
Yeah.
It would flicker like a beast.
Oh, wow.
They just basically made it where it was a little bit more like fluid, and that's it. And like, I should have done my research, but I'm like, I was at the store, it was cheap. I'm like, let me give this a shot.
Yeah.
I love Godzilla. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like, and that's the thing for me. Like, I feel like
how do you mess that up? Because it's such a perfect, easy. I feel like it's an easy concept. Monster destroys things.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. You want to make a Godzilla game? Okay. Make 2 campaigns. Or 2 modes. 1, where I can run around as Godzilla.
Yeah.
2, let me also fight on the ground as, like, humans as the city's being destroyed around me. So So you're running through, like, buildings getting destroyed and, like, do it the way Battlefield 1 did their intro.
Make resistance.
Where, yeah. Like the boss battles in Resistance, like especially like 2, I think is the one that had like really big boss battles. Like
I think so, yeah.
yeah, but I think it would be awesome to have like a mode where you play as Godzilla, and then also you see it from like the foot soldier's eyes, and like if your character dies, like that's where they died, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have multiplayer where you have Godzilla versus Mothra versus blah, and the people choose. You know what? Fuck it, make a Godzilla fighting game.
Yeah, that's what they should have just done.
That's the easiest thing they could do.
Just make a fighting game, and it doesn't even have to be
balanced. No, like
yeah,
don't make it a tournament fighter like Street Fighter or King of Fighters. Make a fun fighting game like Injustice or Mortal Kombat.
Right.
But you're playing as Godzilla and Mothra and Mecha Godzilla. Like that's what you do.
Yeah. For the PS4. But
yeah, that's a good one.
They fucked it up. They fucked it up. So, yeah, I don't want to ride that one too much more because it's basically whatever's been said about that thing has been said. I just want to say that I tried because like I just had to, and it let me down. it's like I don't know a good analogy. So we're getting to our list, our official list.
Yeah,
we're already almost an hour deep into this.
Yeah,
we haven't even made the list.
I'll do the honorable mentions quicker.
Yeah, we'll do our honorable mentions and then get to it. So go ahead.
So for me, like, so I have 3 games on my honorable mentions. I'm gonna go through these quick. My number 3, like, honorable mention. And I think I did this last year when we were like building games lists like that, or like ones we were looking forward to.
Yeah.
This game is one of my favorite games that got released this year on the PlayStation 4. It's been out for years and years on PC. I played maybe an hour of this game, and I don't like it at all. It's not my cup of tea whatsoever. But The Sims 4 that got released on PS4 is 1,000% my, woman's cup of tea.
Really? Cool. That's
like
cool.
This game, she loves like building houses, making the people, and doesn't even really care too much about actually playing as the characters. She just goes in there, and it's like an outlet for creativity.
Yeah.
Where she gets to do this, build this house with unlimited money, and she gets absorbed in it. It is
That's
like
cool.
It is easily like, the last game she was really into that like The Sims 4, beat out was Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
She just loves that, her nostalgia in games is like, very much stopped in the early PS2 era. That's where it ends. So watching her find a game, like, it shows to me why we play games, why games are interesting, because I guarantee you right now that you could take every single human being and find at least 5 games that, like, they will love and want to play all the time.
Right.
I guarantee you can find at least 5. So that's on my list because, like, the thing about that game isn't that it's special, like, directly for me. It's just, like...
For somebody you love and care about, yeah.
And it shows the power of video games.
Right.
That they can grab somebody all the time.
Grab them good.
Yeah. My next one is another one that's like was outside people coming in to like make it more enjoyable. Like Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands is objectively, and like we'll get to this one later, I believe, is objectively kind of a bad game.
It kind of is.
If you take into, like, if you think about what you're actually doing, like, you're invading another country to disrupt the drug trade, even though your government was the ones who put the drugs there in the first place. Like, straight up, like, the U.S. government creates the problem, and then the U.S. government
solves it.
With 4 guys.
With 4 dudes.
That's bad.
And it doesn't play like Grand Theft Auto.
No, and the like, dudes you're playing as are very much like bro dudes, like...
It's like Top Gun.
Yeah. Like I haven't played many games where the game is better if you literally go into the menu settings and turn the dialogue all the way off.
And you have to play with somebody.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like playing with my brother, on that game, like, whether we were doing what we were supposed to or not, was just fun because, like, it's a big military sandbox. Like, it is the Grand Theft Auto of military shooters. And that's, like, really fucked up, but really fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you're with somebody else and, you know, hover over an enemy base and your partner goes, I think I know what to do, and then jumps out of the helicopter.
Yeah.
So that...
Oh, that's the worst. Keep going.
So, but that's all I really need to say. Like, that game is, like, objectively probably bad, and
Yeah.
most people would agree, but, like, you also find a lot of people had fun because, like, the customization and all that is awesome. But that's why it's on my honorable mentions. Like, I don't think it's a great game. I didn't play 50 hours of it, but what I did play was memorable and was fun, and almost in some ways the bad shit made it even more enjoyable because it was just weird.
Yeah.
The last game, this one will be quick. Stick with me here on the name. It is Ease 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. Okay. This is a JRPG-ass JRPG action. It's you know, a combat. The combat is real time and combo based, and there's a lot of different weapons and stuff. The gameplay loop of that game is basically your boat crash lands on this island, stranding you and a couple people near you, and then you're basically going around the island trying to find all the different people that were on the boat, try to help them and bring them back so they can, like, unlock different stores and stuff like that in your town. And so you do these, and then you do side objectives for them to, like, improve, like, the stuff they have to sell and craft and all that. And, you know, what you're trying to do is, you know, build a boat that can get us out of here. The thing about that game is I got hooked on it for a good 2 weeks, fell head over heels with the combat, just the gameplay loop in general, like what you do. Mm-hmm. And then I went to play it one day, and I just kind of was like, oh, I'm done with this.
You're like, I'm good.
Because, like, the game is actually, like, probably 60 hours long, but I probably played 20, 25 hours. And I was just like, I think I'm good now. But at the same time, I also don't, like, at this point, and this game came out a little bit later in the year, I couldn't tell you a single character name.
You wanted to mention it at least.
Yeah, I could tell you what they look like, some of them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you their names, what their purpose is. There's a whole other thing that, like, you start going through way later in the game that I think sets up, like, what used to be on this island.
Yeah.
So you're doing these, like, you'll be playing for a long time with, like, the main character, and then all of a sudden you take control of this girl. I had no clue what the fuck was going on in any of that when it would pop up, and, like, because it was so infrequent, I was like, every time I would forget, like, that stuff happens every once in a while in the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, like, weird stuff about it. But if that game came out at a time when there was less stuff out,
you would have gave it maybe more time.
Oh yeah, I probably would have played it to fruition.
Nice.
So that game is good, and it got really high reviews for people who like those kind of games.
Yeah.
But one, I just kind of didn't want it anymore, and
two,
I don't remember shit about it. So that's Ease 8, which Ease is spelled Y-S.
I mean, I can't even remember the title. So.
I know.
So I have only 2 honorable mentions, and I'll go through them real quick. The first one, it's technically Puyo Puyo and Tetris on the Nintendo Switch. I basically just played the Tetris portion, and funny enough, I didn't pay for it. I just downloaded the demo and just replayed the single player over and over and over again. And
so
the reason,
like Siphon Filter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it just killed the. Oh my God, Gabe, you killed the CDC agent. Anyways, so the reason I want to mention it as my honorable mention is it's a game that I played a lot when I just, like, wanted to, like, escape from thinking about work, and I was just focused on doing a puzzle or making sure I was getting Tetris and stuff like that. So that's one. The other one is, and we play it almost every year, at least once. The Jackbox Party Pack. I think 3, but any of them you can play. If you haven't played them, I suggest it. You have to have your phone, so that could be a problem.
Everybody does.
And decent internet. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true.
So because you play on your phone. It's just a fun game. It makes you laugh. The one we usually play is like you can make your own custom T-shirts and like sayings and stuff like that, and it could be really dark, really disgusting.
Yes.
But it's always hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that and my buddy when he came down from Japan to here, we played that, and this is not a PG.
Yeah, I think we have to like say this now. Like, I can't always censor myself.
Yeah. So if you're listening with a kid, just pause. Like, cover their ears for a second. But one of the funniest things that we came up with was ping pong pussy.
Oh Jesus.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hilarious.
Oh my God! I'm imagining a gaping maw and then just a ping pong ball like bouncing between labias.
I can't even remember what like the reason for it was. Anyways, so yeah, Jackbox Party Pack. I guess there's a new one out, and I kind of want to download it on my Switch and stuff like that. But I have them mainly on my PS4. So, anyways, maybe I'll download it on my PS4 to give my PS4 something to do.
Oh, I know.
You know what
we'll
I mean?
get to that, I think, in later episodes too. Like, I think we should do like an upcoming what we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
And like anything that's not like coming to Switch, I'm like, but I won't be able to play it when my son's watching crappy cartoons that I can't stand anymore because I've watched them 9,000 times.
They're currently probably watching Cars, and I'm like, didn't we just watch Cars like on Christmas and Thanksgiving? And
yes, and yes.
It makes me not want to have a kid because like, what if my kid attaches to like a cartoon that's like terrible? Anyways, we gotta focus because we're already burning an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, 10. The way I think we decided is like you'll do all your 10, and then I'll do my 10.
Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Okay. I think that'll force us to be quicker with it.
Yeah.
So, and we're gonna count down from 10 to 1.
1 being the best.
Yes.
Or our favorite, not the best.
Yeah, these aren't. I don't think in any way, shape, or form these are the best games. Of
all time or anything, but it's like just 10 of your favorite. Anyways, number justification. Let's do this.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Number 10 for me, is Destiny 2. It barely made it on here.
Yeah.
Because the entire time I played it, which was a large amount of time, like I enjoyed. Me and my brother played it together sometimes.
Yeah.
The thing about Destiny 2. Like, I literally felt like I was hate fucking that game. Because...
Yes.
Yeah, because, like, every time I would, like, get really into Destiny 2 and, like, I'm having a good time, my brain would stop and go, hey, you shouldn't be too happy. You just paid $120 between this game and the first game to get the game that you were supposed to get the first time.
Yeah, and you're not really doing anything.
Yeah. Like, the thing about it is, like...
You're basically playing to get a Bright Ingram, which you could technically pay for.
Yeah. Like, the game...
Anyway, sorry. I'm not trying to poo on your parade. I'm just...
No, the shooting... my thing with Destiny is the shooting is the best feeling really shooting in the industry.
Yeah.
The idea of mixing fantasy and science fiction is cool to me.
Yeah.
The main conceit, like, of the story of, like... I'm not going to get into that. Is interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, I should have played this game 3 years ago, or 2 years, I think 3 years ago. Like, Destiny 1 should have been this game.
And then they should have improved from there, yeah.
Yes. Like, this should not be, a remake of Destiny 1. Like, so
that's what some people are saying, Destiny 2. I enjoy it. I don't like the loot box system that they have either, but a lot of people are saying, like, this is just like a Destiny remaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the big problem is, like, this was the game we were promised the first time around.
Yeah.
And we were also promised that, like, whenever sequels would come out, all that content would carry over into the next one.
Nope.
No. So, it's barely on there, but that's because I can't deny that, like, I am looking forward to Destiny 3.
cruise control.
I want them to bring it all together. I want them to give you more dynamic and interesting things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like, if they do that and they have a ton of content, like, it'll be great. But until they reach that point,
you can't play soccer in Destiny 2, so it's like that's a little bonus.
It's a little bonus. You have to beat the game first
to play it. I didn't know that. I've already beat the game, so like I've already just
because you have to go to the other. Anyways, so Destiny 2 like literally just eked its way on here by like the smallest of margins. Like I literally thought I looked over this list like over and over again and wanted to put Ghost Recon there, but for some reason I just couldn't, and I think it was because of like the amount of time I put into the two games. Like I played a lot more Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And I think any game that can get me to play the online multiplayer component of it has something special, and that's how good the shooting is that I wanted to play.
Yeah, because I hate Call of Duty, but I'll play Destiny 2, even though it's still with a bunch of randos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Alright, so number 9, I also thought about labeling this one as, instead of, just having the game title, I thought about putting all of the cutscenes of Wolfenstein 2: The New Order and one actual part of or two actual combat encounters in the game. Wolfenstein 2, like, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody out there, but especially given the current climate and not even where you stand on Republican or Democrat, anything like that, in terms of the fact that we had in 2017 dumbasses walking around with swastika flags, proclaiming they are Nazis on American soil after so many people like gave their lives to shut that shit down decades ago. Okay, this game was in development before all this stuff really blew up in America. And that made it to where like being able to go in and shoot Nazis and dismantle their bodies was awesome. Okay, but
plus that game, like, you could do like bullet hell, like where you just blaze.
Like me, and that's what I'm thinking of is like literally Destiny 2 and Wolfenstein 2 could have been swapped on this list because they literally have the exact opposite problems of each other. Because like if you were to put the shooting of Destiny 2, or better yet, if the gameplay in Wolfenstein 2 was the gameplay of Doom from 2016, it would be probably my number 2 game of the year.
Oh, okay.
Because the cutscenes and what's going on in Wolfenstein 2 are amazing. Like, I can't describe the cutscenes because those would be spoilers, but
which we usually don't care about, but I haven't played it, so
since he hasn't played it, and it makes it to where like I genuinely think we should have a spoiler cast the second you do play it and beat it and whatnot, because to me, like, the cutscenes in that game are over the top, outlandish, but also very human, very dark, but very funny. The characters are like beautifully written. They have dynamics. They're not just like, here's the leader and he leads. There's weakness in like the main hero in the game, and they literally tie an element of the gameplay to that weakness and then change it later in the game. So all that is awesome. And without going into details, like, at the very least, like, part of me with the vote with your wallet thing, a large part of me still would say buy Wolfenstein 2. Okay, so that way...
Is there even DLC in that game?
Yeah, they already started releasing DLC.
But not loot boxes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in my opinion, that's why I feel like that's better than Destiny by a little bit, because there's no loot boxes.
Yeah. There's a single player campaign. There's no multiplayer at all. It's just like, here's the story, play this single player game. To me, that screams at my heart, because I love like single player experiences. Like, But Wolfenstein 2, the only reason I would say buy this damn game is one, because the cutscenes are great. I put the game on the easiest difficulty. That made it more fun because yeah, but like when you go to boot that game up, when you finally do get to it, you're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, is this Dark Souls?
I might like put it on easy, like like I'm talking shit now because I haven't done it, but you know,
like Dark Souls is hard, but it's fun and rewarding. Wolfenstein 2 is hard, and you don't know when you're getting shot at all the times, and that makes it suck. But those cutscenes are so good, and if they just made the combat more interesting, because the guns are fun to use, but not in the scenarios you're using them.
Yeah.
If they fix that with Wolfenstein 3,
good to go.
Good to go. Perfect. Yeah. My next game, Assassin's Creed Origins. This game is on here. That's my number 8. I really like what they did with Assassin's Creed. Problem. I've always been a fan of, like, the Assassin's Creed franchise. So, not like a super fan, not like Mass Effect or The Witcher or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan of Assassin's Creed. So, me, like, even with Syndicate, I didn't think they needed to change anything. Unity was just a technical mess, once again.
Yeah.
Which made that game funnier when it first came out. But still, like, the setting and stuff and characters weren't interesting. But they took a year off, okay, and not only did they come back and change a lot of things, they also were like, well, let's tell the origin stories of the, Brotherhoods and Templars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. I like all of that. They made the combat kind of like Dark Souls, not in its difficulty, but the way it works, where, R1 does this, R2, does a heavy attack, and you have swords and shields and all kinds of awesome, like, tools to have fun with and use. The game is beautiful. There's a, like, mechanic where you spot things using a bird and you, like, fly around as this hawk. That, I've sat and just did that for 20 minutes straight a couple times, because the game is gorgeous. All those changes, there's, like, it's very much an RPG now, where there's, like, stats and XP and side quest and loot and blah blah blah. Not loot boxes. You can do microtransactions in that game, but I don't believe any of it is loot boxes. I think it's like, I want this epic sword, I am going to buy this epic sword. I don't think there's any, like,
surprise to it.
Yeah, it's you know what you're getting for your money.
Which that's I feel fine. Like if they're gonna have that, if they have to have it, then that's fine. It's like, I want a sword. Here's the sword. $4.95. $4.95. Done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
the thing with Assassin's Creed Origins is, like, in a year with a ton of games coming out all at once, like, I haven't finished it. I will finish it because, like, when the Switch lets me go a little bit, because I'm hooked on that, I will get back to it. But part of the I didn't finish it thing, I played a ton of it. Mm-hmm. It is I'd almost say a bloated game. There's too much content.
There's just so much shit going on.
Yeah. Like, the map is huge. But it's a really good game. If you drifted from Assassin's Creed because of the recent entries, I'd say give it another shot, because it's worth it. That game's awesome. Neo is my number 7 game. Neo, to me, is very much like, there have been people who tried to make a game like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, like Lords of the Fallen, and have failed. Or Assault and Sanctuary tried to do a 2D version of it and failed. I think Neo, what they decided to do was, let's take the concept of, the Souls games, the challenge, they took a lot of those things and they're like, let's add stuff to it. Let's not just copy, this other studio's game. Let's take it and build upon its foundation, and maybe we'll see it influence those games in the future, and to me, I think that's a sign of a good game, is taking something people already love, building upon it, and making it your own, but also, like, more than acknowledging that, yes, we're making that type of game. Like, these people, like, the people who made Lord of the Fallen, any interview they had, well, we don't really want to talk about the Souls games, because they knew that that's what they were doing.
Emulating it, yeah.
Yes. Okay, with this game, they're like, no, like, we got in touch with them. We learned a lot from them. They, told us how we made certain things work, and like I genuinely believe that the next Bloodborne, oh God, be this year, or the next Dark Souls, oh God, just give me another Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely believe they'll take some ideas from Neo, and then hopefully, because now they have like a competition of like
They'll amp their shit
this
up,
studio
yeah.
can make these games too. Oh shit, let's step it up.
Yeah.
But Neo is like a Souls-like game. We talked about it in previous episodes of the show when it was coming out, or
I think it already came out because I played it.
yeah. It's awesome. Next one is an oldie, and also this one will, if you remember from previous conversations, I thought Dead Rising was a dumb fucking franchise. Period. I thought the time mechanic, I thought the way you fight zombies was boring. The way the character moved, the way the inventory worked, the way the leveling worked. I thought all of it didn't work.
Yeah.
Is how I felt.
Yeah.
And I know my brother really enjoyed those games, so like, there are podcasts of me and him arguing about it. But I got an Xbox One for a short period of time this year, and Dead Rising 3 hooked me hard. I was at the time I was looking at that game like, I'll play this with John whenever, he's available to play online. And we did a few times, but the thing about Dead Rising 3 is like, I couldn't put it down. Yeah. I come home and I'd be texting John like, oh my God, like, look at this. And I made this weapon and I just like was going around city blocks destroying zombies.
Yeah.
And I fell in love really hard with that game. I beat it. I beat 2 of the like 4 DLCs that came with the like version I bought. It was awesome. The character that you play as, like the actual story was interesting, a little darker than the other games, but like another game on my list, they used the main story to be super serial. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like real serious, like there's a lot of zombies, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the side stuff was like zany, like you literally meet a guy in a mansion and he wants you to lure 3 zombies into a bedroom so he can film a porn with zombies.
Yep.
Okay, so that's really dumb. That's really fun. The game's really fun. That's why it's on here. It's an old game. It's a launch Xbox One game. I will give it to them. Like, that is a good Dead Rising game. Dead Rising 4 was a different story.
Okay. I have to make a formal public service announcement. This game is not on my list. But after reading, like, because he sent me his list. After reading that title, I'm so mad at myself.
Oh, this is the one.
Because I forgot how much fun I had playing this game.
Yeah, just fun.
My brother and I, when we would play online, we would do the missions together. We would just like screw around together. We found like glitches together. Yes. It was just like, and the funny thing is we played different ways.
Yes.
Like, in a way, like, it's hard to explain, but it's like, I'm so mad at myself, so I want to apologize formally, since you're in my presence, for not putting, because it does deserve a spot. I don't know where, probably number 10, I would think, and drop down everything else, but the fact that it's not on there at all is kind of offensive, because that game is so much fun, and I beat it. Like, I'll talk about this later, but there's few games I beat.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I have like ADD or something.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's the thing about being an adult who doesn't do this for a living, play games, like everything that comes out, or even everything they want to play when it comes out. The thing about being an adult is like, you only have a limited amount of time. And the problem is you got a big game like Dead Rising or anything else from our list. You know, you can only sink so much time into something, and then the new thing comes out, and you're like, I got the money, I really want to play this new thing, and the other thing gets forgotten.
Kind of drifts away.
You know.
This did not.
No,
This did not drift away. I beat it, played it on, like, I would, like, text my brother, what are you doing?
Yeah. You want to play? Like,
seriously, like, oh my God. So, yeah, I'm going to let him continue his list, but I'm sorry. Because it should be on my list, and it's not.
It's an honorable mention.
It's more than an honorable mention, but anyway, so continue.
How about we'll say for your list, we'll give Dead Rising 3 a hard 11.
A hard 11.
There you
like
go.
super hard. Like wake up in the morning hard. You know what I mean?
Anyways, so my number 5 game was the first game I played on my Switch, and I'll explain that in a minute. Super Mario Odyssey is, for all intents and purposes, just like joy. Yeah. All I can think about with that game, and it came out I got that thing, and like it came at a perfect time. Not only was the game just pure joy and pure fun and imagination and whatnot, the game inspired me. So when I got my Switch, like, part of the reason was, so I can get my gaming in even when other stuff is going on or this, that, and the other. Like, I can still play by, playing it in handheld mode or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the really nice things was, like, Emily would feel bad if she was, like, just zoned in on Sims 4 and not talking much because, like, that game grabs her. Mm-hmm. And me, as, like, a fan of video games, like, I'm encouraging her. Like, no, I don't care if you ignore me. Play your game.
Yeah, it's fine. It's awesome.
Like, last night, she looked at me and, like, she was playing and she's, like... And I had talked about, like, while watching Cars for the 300th time, I was like, I just want to play Mario Kart. And so our son goes to bed. She's playing Sims 4, and she looks at me. She's like, I'm going to save. I'm like, why? She's like, so we can play Mario Kart. And I looked at her. I was like, do you want to play Mario Kart? And she was like, well, I suppose we should because we bought it,
Yeah,
like, that's what she's
yeah.
saying. She's like, we paid money for it. We should use it. And I was like, no, play your game. Okay? And what happened... in a similar situation like this, she's playing The Sims 4. I was playing Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm just smiling, and I'd be looking at the game, I'd stop for a good 5 minutes, watch her, ask her what she's doing, like, why don't you move that,
Mm-hmm.
Having this, like, cool experience playing video games with my significant other. And so the one time I was playing... and I looked at Emily, who was, like, building stuff, and I looked at this game, which, like, people built and was just pure imagination. I looked at her, I was like, this is why games are cool. You're playing a game that you're given tools to express your imagination, okay? So you're creating from imagination, and I'm experiencing somebody else's... other people's creative imagination.
But while exploring, too.
Yeah. So, I'm like, she's creating, these people are creating, and that, like, inspired me to start writing a lot more than I had been lately.
Yeah.
Because I love writing. Like, I can escape into writing, whether it's fiction or, like, the top 10 list I did, which I got way carried away with. Like,
I read some of it, to be honest, but then I was like, I felt like it was cheating, so I stopped.
Yeah, like, what I'm going to do is he's going to end up helping me edit this, but that's what, like, the effect Super Mario Odyssey has, is you see this, like, imagination and this, you just feel this joy, and you're like, I want to make something too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and, like, that's, like, been driving me to write more. That's driven me to, like, me and my brother, like, leading up to this podcast, me and him have spent, like, hours on the phone talking about what we want to do in the podcast, sharing ideas and stuff. And, like, that's the type of game and why Mario Odyssey is so special. Not just for what it is as a video game,
mm-hmm.
but
what it inspired you to do.
Yeah, what it inspires people. What Mario has always done is inspired people and, brought joy, unlike that devil Mickey Mouse. So, Super Mario Odyssey, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's on the Switch. Get it, period. And thank you, Nintendo, for that one. Because, like, I have been having a ton of fun, kind of expressing myself more with
Plus,
this
the
kind of stuff.
playstyle is awesome because it's open world.
Yeah, like, you go to these worlds... and they drop you in, and it's like, okay, now go find moons, and go find coins, and beat a boss in this level, and then beat the second stage of the bosses, or the other trial tied to it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Number 4, I'm going to be quick on this one. Sunset Overdrive. Another one that's old, but an Xbox One game. During my, time with Dead Rising 3, I also hopped into this one and fell head over heels. This game is fun. It's like Tony Hawk meets, Tony Hawk meets
Zombies.
yeah, zombies, but also like, I don't know, it's awesome. It's a fun take
like
on an apocalypse.
Jet Set Radio, I think it's called.
Yes, that's even better than Tony Hawk because so like you grind on rails or bounce on car hoods or fans and you shoot zombies who are zombies for the best reason anybody has ever written for zombies, because of an energy drink.
Yeah.
That's so dumb, but there's something about like them going like immediately like, hey, don't take this too seriously.
Hoodoo, you voodoo, bitch.
Yeah, Dead Rising. Alright, so that's my number 4, is Sunset Overdrive. That game's super fun. Weird when you first start playing it because you have to do the grinding stuff. But it's awesome. Check it out. Most of you already have probably because it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
My number 3 game is Horizon Zero Dawn. Any other year, this game would have been my number 1 game. Easy.
But it had so much competition.
And it had competition in less than a month.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk about what that game is later. I'm gonna bury the lead a little bit, but Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy's a good character. The world is a post-apocalypse, which is dumb when you first hear it. I thought it was dumb when I heard it at E3, but it's fascinating because it means that instead of like Fallout where like people are trying to rebuild the world or whatever and it's just messed up, this is like people have come together and they've built like societies, and we're kind of back towards the Stone Age with everything. But that it makes it to where
at the same time not.
Yeah,
because it's mechanical.
But like it's also a world where like people see coffee cups and think it's some kind of ancient relic.
Yeah,
because they don't like. There's nobody living who would have been alive back then.
Yeah.
But like, not just the main story has like basically 2 questions. Like it's constantly asking you is like, 1, where are you? And where are you and what happened to the world? And 2, like, who is Aloy, which is the main character you play as. And her character is so fascinating, and when you find out what her origins are and like why she's an outcast from society, they nail it. So they've built this world that like I hope I get at least 2 more games in, because like it's a fascinating world, and the whole thing is the open world post-apocalypse where you fight robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow.
Well, they have to be specific.
Yes. But it sounds crazy, but it's just dope. Like the when you get into these fights, you're looking for the weak points on the different animals. You have different arrows and different type of bows to deal with it, like close range combat too, and it's a blast to play. It's fun to explore the world. It's fun to find tidbits. It's fun, like, when I finally found out where we are, I found this thing that, like, showed me, and I was like, I've seen that before. Because I avoided looking it up, ever. Yeah. But I was like, I've seen this before. And then I was like, I got a little bit closer to that thing, and I knew where I was.
Yeah.
Where in the world this was set.
In San Diego? Yeah.
That game is really good, and as I said, like, if it wasn't for this other game on my list, because that's the thing, like, what happened was, like, this game came out, and I was in love with it, but then the other game came out, and I literally bought a different system to play that game, and it, like, captivated me for a while. But I'll come back to that, but just keep that in mind that, like, even though I have another game at number 2, like, Horizon would have been the number 1. But because of the game that is at number 1 and what it did with open world and exploration and combat, this game like got stunted by that. But I think by the fact that like these games came out in the same year, that if Guerrilla Games, who is known for the Killzone games, that's the other fascinating thing. They've always made the Killzone games, which are first-person shooters. Like, the first one was supposed to be a Halo killer. They made an open-world RPG where you shoot robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow. That's
very
awesome.
specific arrows.
Yes, very specific. So, yeah, if it wasn't for this other game, this would have been my number 1. And as I kind of just spoiled for myself, my number 2 is Yakuza 0. I don't want to go in depth explaining Yakuza 0.
Because I'm going to.
Yes. I'll just say, like...
We kind of already did in the past episode, but still.
Oh, yeah. And I've done a video on it. If you've played a Yakuza game in the past and it didn't grab you, if you...
like, I've never tried a Yakuza game.
Yeah. Especially with 0. 0 is, like, set before all the other games in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But if you like fighting games or RPGs or bowling games, like if you like any kind of game, there's something in Yakuza for you. Or even if you just want a damn good story, it's there for you.
I'm trying not to laugh because I always think of when my brother, not to cut, I know we're trying to get through this, but when my brother first talked about Yakuza to me, the first thing I played was the bowling. Like
that's 100% true.
Yeah, and he was kind of mad at me about it, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, it reminds me of Tekken Tag where you could play the bowling on there, blah, 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 blah. And when you actually do get to the bowling, get to the bowl real quick. When you do get to the bowling part of the game, it makes sense. You're like, it's insane. Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm happy you did this because I can actually end on this note. If you notice, John was like able to talk and wanted to talk more about one tiny aspect of this game.
Yeah.
One of the mini games. Okay? That shows that like there is a ton of stuff to do in this game.
And it all makes sense. That's the best part.
Yes. Like,
because usually it's a fetch quest. Like, it does technically make sense, but it's a fetch quest. But the side things in this game are very specific and has character to it. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, like...
sorry.
That's the thing, like, with Yakuza, it makes hard swings with, like, overly dramatic and also funny. But the smartest thing they do with it is the main story in the game is very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's over the top. It's anime as fuck. But, like, it's very serious. But then a lot of the side stuff is like really, really funny. Like genuinely funny.
Goofy as hell.
It's hard to be funny in a game.
Sometimes it's serious funny, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Like the situation is almost too real to not have happened to somebody. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like the thing, like, and seriously, Yakuza 0.
Go buy it.
Yeah. I played through that one. I started... They did a remake of the first game.
Yeah.
Called Yakuza Kiwami. That I'm having fun with. And Yakuza 6 comes out next year, so it's great. The characters are great. The world is interesting. It's set in the 80s, which makes it really dumb and fun in a way. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0 is like...
And it's an RPG, technically.
Yeah, like, of all the games on my list, even my number 1, with Yakuza 0... all I can think is just try it. Play this game.
Yeah.
Play this game, and if you don't like it, like, you can tell me to go screw myself, but, like...
The only warning I'll give is it's a lot of reading. Unless you understand Japanese.
Yeah, it's not... There's no English dub on it, but I feel like that almost...
Well, here's the thing. Can I say something real quick?
Because you're probably going to say what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. No, maybe not. I hate reading.
Oh.
With a passion. I hate it. I hate reading because at work I have to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
That game read every line of dialogue and didn't think twice about it.
Buy Yakuza 0. Number 1, my game of the year, and potentially I don't like saying this without giving more time. I took 6 months removed from Witcher 3. Witcher 3 used to be my favorite game of all time. It struck a chord. I was already into the lore after, because with The Witcher 2, my brother bought it, and just on a whim, like, didn't know what it was. The first one wasn't on consoles. It was only on PC. Why is it Witcher? That's not a fucking word. Like, but I fell in love with that game. I, like, fell deeply in love with that game. Okay? And then Witcher 3 came out, and it was just the best, like, RPG we had seen ever. And I loved it. I haven't even completed Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda game, and like every time I stop playing it, all I can think about is like what I have to do the next time I play it. Not even want to do. Where am I going to go explore next?
Yeah.
What am I going to go find next? I need to go get this piece of armor. I need to go take down this type of enemy so I can bring this here so I can upgrade that later on. Even, I can spend 20 minutes looking for my objective in that game. Because most games, if they don't give you an objective marker of where you need to go, most people get annoyed and pissed off and don't want to play this. Like, tell me where to go if you're going to give me this big map and just put me out there. Tell me where to go. This game, the way they get around that is like, okay, how about instead of telling you where you need to go and letting you travel there at all times, why don't we make it interesting to be in this fucking world?
Right.
It is the solution to the problem that none of us ever thought like would be the smart route.
Right.
Nobody ever thought like, okay, like they just want to be led to the objective. They want to, get in the game, not have to think about where to go. Just jump in and play and beat it. And Zelda's like, well, no, how about we make it to where, like, they're going to have to explore, they're going to have to think, unless you just use the internet. But let's make it to where, even if they are lost, they're going to find something anyways. That's masterclass. That's cool. How you make a game fun, is by making sure that no matter what you're doing, where you're going, what you were planning on doing, that, like, at all times, at least 20 other things can grab your attention.
Right.
Because for me, most of the time, and you've probably noticed from as I'm talking about things, like, if I don't attach to the story or the characters, I'm generally speaking, like, to me, in large ways, like, gameplay isn't enough anymore. You have to have, like, something backing it up, story or challenge or, like, joyous wonder like Mario. Mm-hmm. I need that to, like, keep me going in a game, because there's too many good games out to, not with, like, Zelda, like, large parts of me playing that game, I don't care what's going on. I listen to podcasts or music or audiobooks while I'm playing it.
And you're just running around doing different things, yeah.
Yeah, but then when the story beats do come, then it's like, no, I need to turn this up. I want to know what's going on. This is, this is an interesting character. But, like, at the end of the day, if there was no story in the Breath of the Wild, because, like, this isn't a spoiler. If you've ever played a Zelda game, like, your main purpose is to save Princess Zelda and defeat Ganon. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things about this game is you have a list of objectives, side quests and quests you need to complete. At all times, one of your main quests in this game, and it never changes until you beat the game, is destroy Ganon.
Yeah.
And it's always there. And the other awesome part about it is, from the second Link wakes up in that game, you have the means to go to Hyrule Castle and destroy Ganon.
Yep.
And you can beat the game. And you don't even have to be a professional speedrunner. It gives you the tools and the means to do that. Now, for me, I don't want to do that. I want to, like...
Because that's, like, pure torture.
A large part of me never wants to beat Ganon in that game until Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever comes out.
Because then you can just go boom, boom,
Like, I want to keep coming back to that game as if like when I'm away from it, that entire world just pauses, and when I come back, it's like I'm here for you to explore.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I wanted to say about like Zelda is like with I forgot which game it was on my list. I think it might have been Horizon. I bought, because I couldn't get the Switch at the time, I bought a Wii U just so I could play Zelda. Because
Nice.
like people had talked it up, and I was like, I want something different. I want that ability to play it while something else is on TV. This game, like, I bought a Wii U, a shitty, wasted system. Like, I bought the last, gas for that game. That's why I bought the Wii U, okay? And I played like 25, 30 hours on the Wii U and then decided like, well, when I go to this certain town, the game runs a little slow. When I'm playing on the like Wii U tablet, it doesn't look super good. Not even like it looked passable. You knew what was going on, but like it was kind of hard to play it in that way.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to stop playing this game right now because I want to play the best version of this game. So I will now take this game that like all I think about is Zelda, and this was months ago when I got the Wii U. All I think about is this game. I'm going to stop playing it just so when I do go to really play it, I'm getting the best possible experience I can.
You can, yeah.
And that's crazy for me. I'm literally like, I spent money to buy a console to play one game, decided the console couldn't handle
and
that
you had
game.
like hit the pause button.
Yeah, and then stopped playing the game so that I could play it on another console that I didn't get until December.
Which is last month.
Yeah, so I can't say enough about Zelda. It is going to influence the shit out of the industry, and I hope it does. I think everything about it is just top-notch, perfect in almost every way. Even I don't know, like I could probably spend an hour talking about why I think this game is special, and like I still feel like I would be underselling it.
Right.
If you like any kind of like open worlds, or you have any kind of nostalgia for Link, if you've ever heard System of a Down's version of the Zelda song, like give Breath of the Wild a shot. It is why I play games.
Nice.
And that's my top 10.
All right. Well, I gotta tell you, almost 1/3 of his list was on my list. So it's kind of funny, like going through my 10. I finished this. It was like lunchtime at work or whatever, and like I always came back to it and seeing if I wanted to modify it, and the only one I could think of to modify it with was the Dead Rising or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy with it, but I still feel like the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is like I feel like I missed out on so much because this year was just insane with the games. So my number 10, it's a game that surprised me in many ways, and the funny thing is, it's almost like you said, I haven't beat it, but it's on my list.
Yeah.
I haven't beat it, but it's on my list. And it's a kind of game that I didn't think I would ever play. Or the type of genre I didn't think I was ever play. It's a point and click game. That game is called Thimbleweed Park, and I played it on the Nintendo Switch. That game is hilarious. It plays like a CSI type thing, but like, oh my god, like I can't even explain it because there's so much different things going on. There's little inside jokes to people. It's set in the past, like in like the 80s almost, in a way, almost kind of like Yakuza, but not in the same directive. There's like a murder involved and stuff like that. And it's not an open world per se. There's like different sections. I guess you can technically call it open world in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's just fun. I didn't think I'd ever play a point and click game, to be honest with you, but it just flows so easily that you don't even realize it. And like the dialogue thing, like it's just fun. try it out. It's really cheap, I think, on the Switch right now, but it's been out for a while. It's not new, it's new to the Switch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So try it out.
Like him talking about, like when I was looking at his list and I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. I forgot that game existed, and now I do want to play it, even though like I can't even play the Telltale adventure games. Nonetheless, an old school point and click.
Well, it's the audio just talks to you, so you don't have to read too much, which is nice. And there's like different choices technically that you can make, and man, it's just fun. I enjoyed it, and it was cheap, so I was just like, why not? So number 9 is gonna get a little personal to me, because fuck Friday the 13th, the game. Fuck it. I know it's out now, and I've hated that game since they screwed the Kickstarter backers. To be fair, they screwed them bad. I played a game called Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a game where it's set in, it could be like a graveyard or a hospital and stuff like that. The objective is you can be a killer, multiple killers, not just one. Sorry, trying not to. Man, or a hero or a person, but different types of people with different types of abilities that you can unlock, and you have to choose your strengths. And if you choose a certain path, certain things delete itself. So, like, let's say you're like, I want to carry a med kit into the game, but there might be a flashlight which could help you. You pick the med kit, the flashlight would disappear. You're forced to use the med kit.
That's smart.
And the objective, like, I'm trying to explain this because many people probably never played it or have heard of it.
Like if you've ever watched if you've ever watched a slasher movie and you wanted to either see if you could survive running from a killer or be a killer killing, sexy teens.
Yeah.
Like
Dead by Daylight is that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your objective is to, like, turn on generators, and it's quick time events, which sounds shitty, but, like, you get used to it after a while. The game has audio tones. Like, each killer has a different audio, so you have to pay attention and listen, because if you hear, like, a scream or a screech, you know the killer's there. For Michael Myers, you hear the Halloween theme song is like, like, it's so much fun. And it was with randos I played 90% of the time. Yeah. And I still had fun because it wasn't Friday the 13th. All right.
Well, and that's the thing. I wish I could say more about that game, but, like, I bought a used copy of it and it didn't work, and that bummed me out. But, like, his excitement for that game post Friday the 13th, like, I'm shocked that game isn't higher, because he's like, it's awesome. It's filling all those needs. I didn't get screwed by it, like, and it's doing, like, the same thing as Friday the 13th, but, like,
with more dynamic options. Yeah. And it's a perfect October game. Mm-hmm. Every October, I have it set aside. Every fall time, I should say, I'm going to play it. So, number 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. We drove from here to Wisconsin for Thanksgiving. I literally played with somebody in the back seat Mario Kart 8 the whole trip. Awesome. They did a couple of things to revamp it. They added King Boo, which is my favorite Mario Kart villain. I don't know if you know that. I love Boo. I just think he's hilarious and awesome. It has a lot of great tracks to it, things like that. It's Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's like Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U. They re-released it on
the
Switch, but they didn't just re-release it. All the content and added stuff on top of that.
The DLC, everything.
The things I'm excited about, especially for when Grayson gets a little bit older, is like they have modes where like you don't have to hold down the accelerator and stuff like that.
It'll drive for you. Yep.
There's a mode that lets you shut off like falling off the environment to make it easier. Like, I think those accessibility options, like, even though like I have barely played that game, I played a little bit on the Wii U, I have it for the Switch. I think those little things that they added to it, like I'm like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do a re-release, is like you add to it as well.
And you want to hear something that's weird, but it like I enjoyed it. I got my butt kicked by these teenage kids on that game.
That game's like me and Emily.
I was getting wrecked, but I was so persistent to win. I just kept going. You know what I mean?
Like Emily usually doesn't like playing like games where we're like competing against each other with me, because like I have a massive advantage since I've been playing video games
forever,
like nonstop since I was little. Like, so she usually hates it. I go into Mario Kart, I'm like, it'll be fine and stuff. No, even the computer was beating me. I'm like, what the hell, man?
That's awesome. So that was my number 8. My number 7, it was honorable mention for Zach, but dang it, it's on my list. Tom Clancy Wildlands.
Yeah.
The worst game to play, but my brother and I, like, oh my god, had so much fun playing it, and I even had fun playing it offline as well, just because, like, it was just cool, you know, to me, killing people different ways, and just, oh my god, we had a video, and I wish I knew where it was.
It's on Facebook, but, like, we recorded this video, and the audio didn't work right, so you only heard John, and so, like, there's a large part of, like, silence, and then he just belts out laughing, and it's like, that's kind of funny if you know what actually happened, but talking about this game makes me want to play that game.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the sign that it's like a really good game is like now talking about it like is making me like, this is the first time I have thought about actually playing another game, you know, since I started playing Zelda.
Yeah. So my number 6 is a game that I actually ended up playing with like a bunch of people, and it was at like a Thanksgiving get together, and like the thing that happened was basically, so we would play this game actually during Thanksgiving. So my number 6 game, 1-2 Switch on the Nintendo Switch. Which is funny because like a lot of people like kind of crapped on the game because it is a tech demo, basically, but there's a board game portion you can play on it, and I think I was talking to you about it, and you probably saw it on other videos or whatever, and it splits you off into teams, so you can spin, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, just an example, or like a cross. Or like a skull and bones, and the skull and bones means the other team gets to spin. So even if you're doing good, the other team can still like kind of keep up or whatever. So the 1-2 switch, like 1-2 switch, it's boring by yourself. Even with 2 people, it's okay. Like Monica and I played, and there's some really weird games on it. There's a game which, as a parent, you would probably be cool with, but for us, it was like strange. But we knew what we're doing. Is like you rock the baby to sleep, and the baby's face is the screen of the Switch, and you have to like rock the Switch like a baby. It's weird. It's weird.
So welcome to being on drugs.
Yeah, basically, like if you want to do peyote, no. So my number 5, I'm gonna kind of steal your thunder, and the worst part about it is like I almost wish I went first now. Because it's gonna feel like I'm stealing from you, but it's not, because we didn't really discuss what each other was gonna say before the podcast. Yeah. But my number 5 is mainly my favorite because of how much Monica loved. My wife loved it. Okay. Because I did play it. I think it's fun. I think it's great. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that to the fact that my Switch was not my Switch for like days, because she just played it every night religiously, and I'll talk to more just like as a fun thing, but the Super Mario Odyssey, like that game, like you said, has a lot of things to adventure to. You could be a dinosaur, you can throw your hats on creatures and stuff like that. Well, Monica, like, she started playing it, and it was like nonstop. Yeah. It was just like, and it was just so cool to me because like she is into the culture a little bit, but I've never seen it to that extent, to be fair. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think like, because I can back him up on this, not that I watched her play it, but they came over during Christmas and I was playing it, And Monica, like, the favorite thing that I heard her say was, like, she was watching me play it, and she's like, while watching you play, I just want to blurt out so many things and tell you where to go, because, like, I found these, like, secrets, and, like, you know, I haven't played it in a while, but I remember it so vividly, and I'm just like, yeah, that's a good game. You know, that's a good experience that it sticks with you and hangs in, you know, for the long run.
Yeah, so it was cool. It's just cool to see, and I've played it a little bit. I need to get back on it. I've been playing my number 1 religiously, so I'll get to that in a second, but it just was a cool game overall. My number 4, you already said it, Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What else could be said, but like we said earlier, the main game is awesome. The storyline makes sense. It breaks off into another form of storyline and stuff like that. And all the side missions, it makes you want to do every side mission. Because they all make sense in their own zany, crazy way. To even, like, the karaoke. Like, you can do karaoke.
Oh.
And when you do karaoke...
Yes.
It turns into its own, like, music video and stuff like that.
With the character.
With the character.
Like, their costumes change. Yep. Like, all of a sudden they're in, like, an 80s hair metal, like, thing. Oh, my God.
Depending on the song, like, they could be on the beach. There's one where this guy's singing about his house and how he misses it. And he's, like, drinking a scotch at the bar and stuff like that. Oh, my God. I don't know what else to say about it. We kind of went on. Maybe we'll do a stream of it sometime or another or whatever.
Yakuza 6 next year.
Yeah.
Or this year.
Yakuza 0.
Ugh,
another good one. My number 3, like, once again, Neo. I think, and this might be, and I don't know if this is true or how I can prove it, but it's the game I wanted to beat the fastest. Not because it sucked, because I wanted to see, like, what's the next monster going to be? What's the main boss going to be? It was almost like Bloodborne, but Bloodborne I was, like, addicted to. Neo I was addicted to, but it was, like, different. Like, Bloodborne to me will be better than Neo. Because, like, Bloodborne, I would call my brother and be like, all right, you know, this is the situation, or blah, 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 blah. With Neo, I kind of did it mainly solo, or I would play online with, like, randos, because you can get, like, random people or whatever. And I just always wanted to see what the next main monster was going to be. Or go back, like, I would get superpower and go back and just kill things that used to kill me and stuff like that. Because, like, when you progress, it's just like Dark Souls and stuff like and everything.
Actually, it's not. You just reminded me completely, like, the way you said go back and, like, destroy, like,
that's like Bloodborne.
Well, like, Bloodborne has, like, this open, sprawling world.
Yeah.
And, like, there's almost, like, added stress and annoyance with that. I actually think, I don't know, until, like, I play another Souls or Born type game, like, in Neo, you have missions, and it has a big map that you go all around, and there's something about the way that it has the missions as your structure that, like, makes it to feel like you're not missing a ton of the content.
Right.
Like, sometimes in Bloodborne, like, there's entire areas of the map
that you can go without seeing.
Yeah. But, like, with Neo, it's like, these are your missions, go here. And I think, like, that's one of those, like, things that's,
that
like...
next step, yeah.
Or it's just like they made it their own. Like they could have very easily just had a big open world,
copy and paste,
by like putting a bridge between like where you stop this level and start that one. But I think that's them making it their own.
For me, I'm not saying it's easier as a game. It was just easier to progress in Neo because I understood where I was going. If that makes any sense. Like, all right, the boss is here. I know what level the boss is. It just wrecked me. But if I stay within the level and figure out each different monster's like characteristics or fighting, by the time we get to the boss, I know I'll be ready. Because I fought all these other creatures along the way within this level design.
That's an awesome point, yeah.
Yeah. So, Neo was number 3. Number 2, back to its origins, almost. And the funny thing is Sega technically didn't even make the game.
Yeah, they... you know the whole story, right?
Yeah, like, they basically, like, hired somebody that was making mods of Sonic the Hedgehog. So the game is Sonic Mania on the PS4 to be specific, but Sega didn't even make this game. They hired a guy that was making Sonic the Hedgehog mods online and stuff like that for people to play, for him to make it. And I tell you, it's been the best Sonic game I've played since almost Sonic 2 and stuff like that.
See, I'm scared to play it because, like, I hold Sonic, the Sega Genesis ones, for some reason I hold with, like, a Steam.
Yeah.
I haven't played them since I was a kid, since we had a Sega. So, for me, like, I mean, me and you have, like, played them here and there, but, like, there's a certain amount of nostalgia I have for it.
Yeah.
That, like, I almost want to keep it there. That makes me scared to play Sonic Mania and, like, jump in and I'm like, oh, yeah, Sonic controls, like, shit
garbage
or something. But, like, you can see it just online and with you talking about it. That game's huge. Like, people are so happy that, like, somebody nailed Sonic.
Yeah, and it's just, I think that it's just the biggest irony. The guy that nailed Sonic wasn't even on technically the Sonic team. So what is that? You know what I mean? Like, what is that?
It's even worse because look what came out a couple months later.
Sonic Forces that was made by Sonic Team, and people were like,
"This is terrible."
Meh. Well, it was like a meh. You know what I mean? It was like some people like were like okay with it, but most people were like, "I'd just rather play Sonic Mania." And the ironic thing is like Sonic Mania, $20, $20.
Yeah.
Sonic Forces, full price.
Come on, Sega.
Come on. Like, how do you not see that? Anyway, so download it. I almost want to tell you to get it for the Switch. I feel like that'd be pretty sweet.
I keep thinking about it. Every time I go to the store,
put it on the docket. Like, if it's ever on, like, the eShop for, like, 30% off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what's holding me back is just, like...
It's just the unknown. I get it, man. I get it, because I played the Sonic games beyond Sonic 2. Well, I have Sonic and Knuckles, like, right there next to me or whatever. And, like, I even played Sonic Generations and stuff, and it's just like... Ugh. So I've been burned. I basically look like the 13th Ghost. If you don't know what that is, guess what?
How
Google time.
Like, how did this... You have literally decided that 13 Ghosts will follow this podcast
forever,
like a ghost.
Forever.
And I get it.
You kind of appreciate it, though.
Yes, because, like, every time you say it, I'm like, I should put that DVD in and watch the, like, backstories of each of the 13 ghosts. Every time it gets said, or every time I go on the Facebook page and see Monk staring at something, like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's either, like, I talk about 13 Ghosts or a scary movie. Anyways, my number one is weird. I know it's weird. I'm so self-aware it's weird, I don't even care.
I don't even remember what it is.
One, it's a, like, I realize something about myself as, like, I'm aging and stuff like that. I enjoy comedy. Like, probably more than, like, I realize. Because, like, I love dark comedy. I love things that can have, like, puns to it. But to me, as much as I love it, it has to be, like, smart. Not, like, smart as in, like, Jerry's drinking water. Ha ha. You know what I mean? Like,
just not, like, slapstick or, like, you know, they have to, like, set up and execute with, like, actual purpose instead of just, like, isn't that funny? He farted.
Yeah. Like, you know how, like, you see on, there's, like, Facebook posts or, like, on YouTube, like, comedy where, like, people are pranking people. It's like, oh, you got pranked, huh? It's like, I don't find humor in that, but I know people do.
Yeah.
So, not only that, this game, believe it or not, as much as I love turn-based RPGs, ask my brother, I am a turn-based RPG nutbag. This is an action RPG that I actually freaking enjoy. It's called Cat Quest on the Nintendo Switch. So, basically, the story of this game, it is, like, saying it out loud is so lame, but when I played it, I laughed so hard. I showed Monica the different puns because they do like cat puns in the game and stuff like that.
Oh, so I would. Okay.
Like so, like there's things in there that you would like get it. Like for example, spoiler. It's a small one, and I won't say the exact name. I'll just give like a roundabout name. But there's this cat in there that you have to help as a side quest, and her name was, instead of Tomb Raider, it was like Rom Tate, like Cat Raider.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever, and you had to help her find a treasure of some sort or whatever, and the game is just full of that stuff. And the story basically boiled down to it, which is ironic because I don't get along with my own, is you have to rescue your sister from the bad guy. It's like a simple premise. But it's an action RPG. There's loot that you can get. There's different weapons, gear, and like there's different weapons you can get, different shields and like armor you can get, and different magic that you can get.
So is it like Diablo or is it like Behind the Cat?
I feel like it's almost like Diablo, but you don't get gear from
Killing enemies.
Okay. You get gear from like chest.
Huh.
And so you can go around, you get different mana. Like I turned my guy into like what is the term for like a mage basically. So like my strength was all like magic and stuff like that, and my guy just like walked around. I'll show it to you like off the podcast or whatever. Walked around with like a staff or whatever, and like I would shoot fire, and the fire would like go around me, and not only would it hit the enemy, but it would like burn them and stuff like that. So I think I poured like 30 hours into it and just like maxed my guy out, beat the game. Well, what I did, and this is why it makes this game number one, I was like, oh, I beat it. I've done everything. I'm like, I'm kind of sad. Like, it's not a long game, but I'm kind of sad. What they add is not only do you get a Mew game, they have a Mew game plus, and what the plus is you can add mods to where you can literally have it where you only have 9 lives.
I thought you were talking about the Pokemon. I'm sorry.
No.
It's like Mew
well,
game.
It's like instead of new game, Mew.
Yeah.
They have mods you can add where you can make the enemies harder. You can have only 9 lives, like a cat would, or whatever. There's one where you can go naked, and it's like you literally just have a sword, and you have to try to beat the whole game. And if you do these different things, you get different like specialized gear and stuff to use as part of the new game.
But how long was it? Like you said, 30 hours the first playthrough?
I think 30 hours.
Wow, that's...
I think total.
That's substantial. That's awesome.
It's pretty good because like you can burn through the main quests, but the side quests like they keep you interested because you meet these, like there's a lion you meet, not to go off on it too much longer, but there's a lion you meet that's like he tries to talk to you like slang, but he's not very good at it. So like,
wow,
you like walk up to him, and you're like, "So what's up, dog?" Or like just stupid stuff. Like he wouldn't even
like you saying that. Like I want to look up that part on YouTube.
Well, here's the coolest thing. So you know how like lately like EA has been like a shit developer. We've talked crap on Capcom. Well, the people that made this game, I've been reading through the forums. Not only have they been responsive to the players that have had like issues or whatever, for the game, they've been not only doing constant updates, but they do updates based on like holidays and stuff for free. So, for example, during Christmas, there's a Queen shop. They opened it up because it's closed right now, but they opened it up to get people to come to an opening party for the holidays. And it's just like, it's just one of those things like, it's lame. I'm not gonna lie, it's lame. But like when you're playing it, you don't think of it as lame, if that makes any sense.
Like, and yeah, I think a great game will like the gameplay, you know, or the story will pull you along so hard that like, you know, you can look past that and instead it just becomes endearing. Like you're like just like, oh man, yeah, I'm in a good place playing this.
Right.
You know, even if like, even you from the outside would look at it and go, well, that's a little silly.
Yeah.
That seems trivial or like a silly game, but like to you, it like struck that chord at the right time. And like on top of that, the game left you wanting more after 30 hours.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, and I like, and that's what was the other thing I was gonna say, and I made a note of this to make sure I got this in. Is I'm infamously bad of completing a game in the first place. I don't know what happens, like life gets in the way or something like this, but I dedicated time to play it, go through it, play every side mission, beat it. Now I'm at the point where I want to play it again, but obviously I have other games I want to play too. But like what I've been doing with the other games is I've been playing those and then coming back, do a little bit of Cat Quest. And you know what the best thing about it is I got it on sale for like $15.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, it just was cool. So bravo to the team that did it. I can't think of the name. That is the worst. That's the worst part about it is like, I want to say the name. I think it's like the Gentleman Bros or something like that. Or it's something like that. But yeah. So my number one, Cat Quest. So,
Wow.
yeah. That's
Like, not wow as in like, oh, you suck. Like, I don't know. That's this year. When
Right.
I'm like, I'm thinking about our two lists, like, you know, if you put them next to each other. Like, even though there wasn't some, you know, some of the games weren't from this year or whatnot, like, still, you take those out and you just have the games that came out this year, and, like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I know me and you both have, like, different tastes, similar tastes in certain things, different, like, stuff like that, but still, it's like, there's so much good stuff that came out this year.
Well, yeah, because like, and I feel like a game came out for every genre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that does happen a lot, but a good game
Yeah, like
came out for every genre, if that makes sense.
a big deal type game, not
Yeah.
one that'll be forgotten so easily next year.
Right.
Like, I mean, you got Nier Automata, like, that game is on its face a character action game. To the rest of the industry, what it is like a landmark in storytelling, because like the game, to actually beat the game, you have to go get like these 5 different endings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like character action game, which normally like those don't come around very often, like Devil May Cry and stuff like that. It's like maybe we get 1 or 2 a year, and maybe, you know, part of one of them is good. But like that, you got RPGs, you got like JRPGs, Western turn-based RPGs, like a random game about a cat,
Going on
action
a quest.
RPG, like going on a quest, like that, like
That has Diablo-esque things in it that and you know how much I love that crap.
oh yeah. You want to know what would make me go back to Diablo 3?
What's that?
If it came to Switch.
Right?
Like, to me, I think games like Diablo should be on portable stuff all the time, because, like, it seems perfect. Like, pick it up for 30 minutes, put it down. Sorry, that's just a random, like, thought as soon as you were talking about it. Like, I can't play Diablo 3 because, like, I scour every corner, and then, like, you know, I don't usually have set play times. It's like, I'm going to play as much as I can. Now you need to stop because this is going on.
Right.
Like, so there's that steep cliff. And the problem I have with Diablo is, like, because even if I've gone to the same map a dozen times and went to almost every single corner, but didn't quite make it to the next, like, checkpoint, I lose all that progress.
Lose all the progress. Right.
But if I had it on handheld where I put it in suspend mode, like, I think Zelda is probably still running on my Switch right now.
It's just chilling. Because you can put it on sleep mode and it's still... Yeah, oh my... Well, that and how easy it is to jump into another person's game. How sweet it would it be if, like, you can be playing that game and I could be sitting right here next to you and be on your team clearing out stuff or whatever.
It's too cool. Like, that's the problem with... That's the other thing that I'm going to find fascinating. I don't think we're going to see the effects of it too much next year.
Yeah.
Well, there's something I think we'll see next year is not nearly as many good games are going to come out.
I hope that's not.
And so, like, that's one thing. I honestly feel like because there was so many great games this year that, like, next year might be a little
Underwhelming. I don't know. It depends on the Nintendo Direct that comes out. Supposedly Red Dead's coming out this year, so that would be cool.
like the closer we get to that, the less excited I'm getting about it because like Rockstar Rockstar pretty much always has a blank check with all people, including, you know, the company that owns them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like if they're like, "Hey, we need more time. We want to add more features to the online component," because you know that's the other thing about it.
Yeah, because they make billions on the game,
Yes.
Card Sharks or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, like Grand Theft Auto Online is so popular. You know it's going to have that. You know it's going to have a lot of features that try to steer you towards it. Like, that scares me. And, yeah, but, like, there are games I'm looking forward to next year. A lot of them I'm worried are going to get pushed and this and that. And a lot of them might, like, they were already being made while, like, Zelda and stuff got released. And they didn't have time to, like, oh, that is such a perfect idea for our game. I want to do that. And they didn't have the time or resources. Like, that's what worries me is, like, for me, I feel like games like Zelda, who are, like, industry pushers, like, that stuff doesn't just happen overnight and change the industry.
It takes like years, yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, and then some things where you think they're gonna, like, be everywhere, like the Nemesis system for, the Shadow of Mordor games, the Middle-earth games.
Yeah.
I thought when that game came out that everybody would doing that. I thought there would be a military shooter with that. I thought there would be, like, a Batman game with that. Like, you know, take down, you know, these villains and they remember you exactly how you beat them and stuff like that. And that hasn't happened. Like, the sequel has come out now and they built upon their own system. Like, so I don't know. I think that's why it's a good time that we're, like, going to start doing this podcast again, because I have a feeling I may not be as happy with 2017's, like, or 2018's, like, games that come out, but I think this year, especially with, like, the success of the Switch, the sales of the actual console, I feel like it's going to be a very interesting year in this industry.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things, like, morph and things like that. So, we're at the 2-hour mark. And so, let's get to the final thoughts.
I don't know, like, my favorite part about 2017 is that I have so much I still need to play from 2017.
Yeah. And I think, yeah.
Like, that's why, like, if next year doesn't have as much stuff, it's like, okay, I still got to finish the 30-hour Nier Automata. I still got to...
Right.
I want to go back and actually do Persona 5.
You have to get, like, the 1,572 moons inside, you know, Odyssey.
Yeah, so, like, I feel like that's what's so cool when you have a industry, or a year in an industry like this, is, like, there's not enough time to get to all of it. So I have a lot that I can still look forward to and save money that way. Right.
So, my final thought is... we have a lot of cool things I think we're going to be using for the podcast. I actually have an 8-cube set up now in my house. I've been very blessed and was able to get a house this year, which it's been a busy year for me and you, I'm sure. But it's like I got married, got a house, and it's like now that we're a little bit more settled, I'm very excited about what the future brings. So I think we're going to look into doing like streams of like current video games. And actually, I went out and got the AVI to HDMI converter, so we can even do like a retro corner or whatever. The name is neither here nor there, but where him and I can play retro games and games from our past. Like one I want to play, it is 2-player, is Combat Cars, and while we play that, we'll put it in our commentary and stuff like that and things in that nature. So I think mainly for me, is I look forward to getting more content out for you guys, whether it's just Zach by himself doing a video play or stream, or just myself, or when we come together to do our podcast. So other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. really look forward to like hearing from you guys about like what your favorite games were and what you'd like to see from us, and bear with us as we try to figure out how to build our own little channel where we can like express what we enjoy, and hope you guys all enjoy it.
Yeah. And one thing, we're bringing some competition to the podcast. So this is our idea. We would like for you to add into it if you can, or maybe some questions or something like that. But we want to do a trivia every podcast. And what the trivia will do is one of us will create a trivia question, and then the other person will have to answer it. So, for example, be like, what color is Sonic the Hedgehog? Blue, red, green, or orange?
Orange.
If my brother answers incorrectly...
Orange.
Yeah. He gets 0 points. But if he answers it correctly, he gets 1 point. And we'll do it back and forth. And the first person would be tough, because if you get 5 in a row and I don't get 5 in a row...
I mean, it'll still end up being the same because you're thinking first to 5.
Yeah. So basically, the first person to answer 5 questions gets to either pick the content, pick a game for the other person to play. So it could be a good game, it could be a shitty game, Friday the 13th, and basically run the show and just make the other person's life miserable or make it good. Right. Whatever.
Like me, I hate playing Telltale games. Maybe I'll sit down and make you play an episode of a Telltale game and I get to watch.
Right. So those are just some ideas. Of course, we'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions or something, follow us on our Facebook page at the Ray Bros Nerd Show. Also, follow us on YouTube, because we'll be posting our podcast on YouTube as well until we figure out maybe some other way or some other source to use. So, other than that, stay nerd.